What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first NBA injury report video. This is something that I am going to try out. If you guys find it helpful, useful, let me know, and I'll do my best to keep doing it when I have time. But I know one of the most difficult things about NBA DFS, obviously, is dealing with injuries, dealing with the injury report. And one thing that really helps a lot and is really important is having an idea, at least, even if you don't know specifics, for every situation, having an idea of how to react to news because sometimes it breaks late and it changes things. Obviously, also, I know some people like to work on their lineups, think about the slate throughout the day. So, my goal here with this video is to just walk through the injury report here in the morning, talk about the players that are questionable, what the ramifications would be if they are out. So, you just have a general idea and can adapt quicker, adjust quicker later on in the day, and hopefully make some better lineups. That combined with watching my tournament show later in the day should give you some pretty good advice. But this is something that, I know kind of just hangs over your head throughout the day. And if you don't spend your whole day looking at rotations and thinking about the NBA, you don't necessarily know how to react to stuff. So I'm going to just walk through the injury report quickly, not go into too much detail, but just give a brief overview of how things look. For Atlanta, nobody questionable. No Bogdan Bogdanovic, no Clint Capella, no Jalen Johnson. Trae Young is probable. So we should see more of the same from Atlanta. With Clint Capella out, Onyeka Okongwu already was in the starting lineup. You maybe see a little bit more playing time from him now, but that's not necessarily the case. Larry Nance Jr. has been the backup center. No Bogdanovic means that it helps to solidify minutes for DeAndre Hunter as essentially the sixth man. We did see Vit Krejci move to the bench a couple of games ago. Mo Gay continued to start. Then last game, Dominic Barlow got to start. He only played 13 minutes, so remains to be seen, but Atlanta, it seems like, is going to go with kind of that spot starter at the 4 with Krejci off the bench, but that's not impacted by the injury news here. Still waiting on an injury report from the Pistons. They are on a back-to-back. Nobody questionable for Washington. Alex Sarr is still out, which means we should get another Joval start. Vasa Micic is questionable for the Hornets. Already no LaMelo, no Trey Mann, no Cody Martin, no Brandon Miller, no Josh Okogie, no Grant Williams. If Micic is out, you probably get a KJ Simpson start. I don't know if he'll actually get the start or not, but he should play more one way or the other. Also opens up some more minutes for Isaiah Wong. Without Okogie, you're also looking at more playing time generally for Daquan Jeffries. Maybe you get a Seth Curry start in place of Micic. That's another possibility, I guess. But there are going to be more minutes available in the backcourt here if Micic is out, given that they are already missing so many guys here, including LaMelo. Also, Miles Bridges can operate with the ball in his hands. If you watch their last game after Micic went down, or just in general, Bridges was bringing the ball up a bit. So he is somebody that already is taking on a bigger scoring load without LaMelo and without Brandon Miller. You could see him take on a little bit bigger playmaking role here as well if Micic is out. For Houston, Jack Landale doubtful. Don't care. Doesn't matter. Alperen Şengün is questionable. That one obviously does matter. If he is out, you most likely get Steven Adams starting the game. Adams started 2 games ago, and then he also started last game without Şengün. Jeff Green started the second half in place of Steven Adams, though. So I don't know if maybe they go that route in this game. Adams still played in the second half. He got to 25 minutes total. So one way or another, Steven Adams will certainly look quite a bit better if Şengün is out. If Şengün is out with Landale doubtful, I assume that also means that if Adams does get the start, Jeff Green ends up being the backup center here. It also, if Şengün is out, does generally mean more playing time for Tari Eason as well. 30 minutes 2 games ago without Şengün, 27 minutes last game. So that's a benefit for him if Şengün is out. For the Knicks, OG Anunoby and Josh Hart are both questionable. Josh Hart's been questionable like every game lately. My assumption is always that these guys are going to play, but obviously we will have to wait and see. If one or both of them are out, the first thing with the Knicks is that generally, already they run very tight rotations. They play their starters a lot of minutes. They have cut it back a little bit lately with Landry Shamet typically playing one rotation as a ninth guy, so they haven't been running a true 8-man rotation. But generally, the tendency with Tibbs is that if a starter is out, the other starters play even more. So if Anunoby is out, Hart and Bridges probably soak up even more minutes. If both Hart and Hart and Anunoby are out, Bridges might not leave the floor. Also, you would most likely get a Miles McBride start in place of either of them. If they're both out, then maybe you get Shamit starting, maybe you get Achua starting alongside Towns. Not really sure what route they would take there, but keep in mind that Tibbs' overall tendency is to play his main guys even more when he has to. He's not typically a coach that just goes further down the bench. It would be surprising to see him respond to guys being out by just, playing several guys 14, 15, 16 minutes, as opposed to playing his main guys even more. Jalen Brunson is somebody that could also benefit here, because if Miles McBride has to soak up more minutes in place of Hart or Anunoby, you potentially have Cam Payne playing a little bit alongside Brunson instead of just being the true backup, which means Brunson would probably also find his way onto the floor more as well. No injury report for the Bucks. They are on a back-to-back. Doc Rivers was asked yesterday about Bobby Portis' status today. He said he didn't know, so have to wait and see on that. Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, and Jalen Williams, all questionable for OKC. None of these, well, Jalen Williams is obviously a big piece. Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso, more secondary pieces. But if Jalen Williams is out, you see even more usage for SGA. If Caruso or Wallace are out, you're talking about more minutes for the other wings on OKC. You probably get a little bit more playing time from Luke Dort. You should see more playing time from Aaron Wiggins coming off of his massive game last time out. You should see more playing time potentially from Isaiah Joe. Kenrich Williams can play more as well. So you just start getting into those secondary pieces for OKC if you're missing Wallace and or Caruso. Nobody on the injury report for the Kings, but they did trade De'Aaron Fox. So I assume you're going to get Keon Ellis probably in the starting lineup alongside Monk, DeRozan, Murray, and Sabonis. For Minnesota, Anthony Edwards and Naz Reid are both questionable. Julius Randle is out. Dante DiVincenzo is out. So you're already looking at a situation where even if Reid and Edwards are in, you're probably getting pretty good playing time from Conley with DiVincenzo out. You're getting elevated playing time from Nickeil Alexander-Walker with DiVincenzo and Randle out, and you're getting elevated playing time from Gobert and Reid with Randle out. Going back to last year, obviously not completely apples to apples, but in games where Karl-Anthony Towns was out, Rudy Gobert averaged like 37 minutes per game. So I do expect Gobert to play a lot. I expect Reid to start and play a lot if he's in. If Reid is out, you really should get Gobert playing a ton. Luka Garza probably ends up backing him up. We get more playing time for Jaden McDaniels with him playing some minutes at the 4. They went with Clark over Minot mostly last game as the extra piece off the bench. But if Reid and Edwards are both out, then you probably get Minot and Clark both in the rotation. Ingles could play more as well. So this one is tricky because they kind of have two different impacts here. Also, keep in mind if Edwards is out, that you do just get a usage bump for other guys. But it is also a situation where, this offense runs through Anthony Edwards. It's not always as simple as saying, oh, the highest usage guy is out. Everybody else looks really good now. Everybody else is going to get more opportunities if Edwards is out, but they don't have a lot of playmaking, shot creation, etc. on this team outside of Edwards, especially with Randle also out. So you do run the risk of the offense becoming a lot less efficient without Edwards as well, and that kind of counteracting the increased opportunities. For San Antonio, Wemby is questionable. If he is out, we saw Charles Bassey get the start last game. It also means you should get more playing time from Keldon Johnson and potentially from Jeremy Sohan, although Sohan still only played 19 minutes last game. You had Bassey start and play 27 minutes. Zach Collins played 8 off the bench. Mamu played 10. Zach Collins is no longer on the team. So I assume that the center rotation here would be Charles Bassey getting the start and probably playing a lot of minutes, definitely enough to matter for DFS. Mamu, I assume, would be the backup center. And then again, you would probably get some small ball lineups with like Keldon Johnson and or Jeremy Sohan in there. Memphis, no injury report yet. They are on a back-to-back. Don't remember any. Desmond Bane got banged up yesterday. I knew there was something. So we'll have to wait and see on him. John Morant was out yesterday. For Indiana, Q-tag on Ray J. Dennis, which does not matter at all. Same for Enrique Freeman and Quentin Jackson. None of these guys are in the rotation. For the Jazz, Colin Sexton is available. Most of the main pieces, or none of the main pieces, are on the injury report. John Collins, Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, these guys, Jordan Clarkson, these guys are all good to go. So for Utah, you're getting a fully healthy, or as close to fully healthy really as they're going to be, team. For New Orleans, Q tag on Jordan Hawkins, Q tag on Tice. No Murray, obviously out for the season. No Herb Jones, no Brandon Ingram. Zion not on the injury report. So you should once again have Zion producing at a ridiculous rate, playing, probably around 28 minutes, but getting all the usage in the world and more playmaking responsibilities as well. Without DeJounte Murray, Murray's absence means you should see more playing time for Alvarado. Hawkins should play a bit more than he was if he is good to go. And CJ McCollum probably picking up a little bit more playing time, definitely picking up more fantasy opportunities, more assist opportunities, more scoring opportunities. So should see a bump for him. Before we move on to the rest of the injury report, do want to mention for anybody that missed the announcement last week, those of us at Endgame Syndicate, Utica, Nerdy Tenor, Brick 75, and we did acquire Run the Sims, which we are really excited about. It is, if you're not familiar with it, a site that has existed for a few years. They have some good stuff over there, including NFL stuff. So our goal, our plan is to take what they already have, which we think is good, build on it, improve on it. We're really excited to do that. We're going to add some other stuff as well. You'll see announcements about that in the future, but I wanted to highlight that we are making the Showdown Sim free for the Super Bowl. So if you're planning on playing Super Bowl Sunday Showdown, check this out. Head over to Run the Sims, and you can use this for free. You can go in. One of the things I really like over here is the ability to put in your own inputs. So instead of just getting projections and not being able to see what the assumptions behind them are, or what the projections team is assuming as far as target share breakdown, rushing share breakdown, all that kind of stuff. You can see it all here. You can adjust it however you want. Whatever adjustments you make go directly into the projection model and change the projections. You can change the score projection up here if for whatever reason you don't want to use the Vegas line and you think the Chiefs are going to win by 14. You can just change all of that stuff up here in the inputs. You then can run your sims. You can go in and check out a bunch of different data here. You can see how often different players show up as optimal. You can look at your lineups. You can see over here, how your projections were adjusted. I'm trying to find one specific page and completely forgetting where it is. But you can see, your lineups over here. You can see predicted dupes, which obviously is really important for Showdown. You can get your sim results after you run it. So all of that stuff, I think it's a really, really good Showdown product. So excited about that. That is free for you guys to check out for the Super Bowl. Now moving back over to the rest of the injury report, we were on the Denver Nuggets. And for Denver, we have nothing. No Q tags, still no Peyton Watson, no Russell Westbrook. So you should get Christian Brown in the starting lineup playing a lot of minutes. One really interesting thing from last game is, so Denver has been moving to an 8-man rotation and phasing out DeAndre Jordan. Last game with Westbrook out, I had expected that you would go back to Jordan being the backup center, but they didn't do that. They still ran an 8-man rotation. So what that means is that you can project even more minutes for the starters. Aaron Gordon played 30, which was pretty expected. Michael Porter Jr. played 41. Christian Brown played 38. Jokic and Murray 36 and a half, 33 apiece. Murray generally is going to play more than that. But the point here being that if they continue to go with that 8-man rotation, even with Westbrook out, it means that Michael Porter Jr., Christian Brown, these guys are getting big bumps in playing time. Strawther played 24 minutes off the bench. I would expect that to continue as he basically turns into the de facto sixth man here. One thing that was really interesting, they went, Jalen Pickett as the straight backup to Jamal Murray, which was expected. They went with Zeke Naji to essentially replace the Peyton Watson minutes. So that is something to keep in mind as well. He played 22 minutes, had a bunch of blocks. Isaiah Wong kept just driving into the lane and throwing the ball off of his hand. But they won that game. I don't know if they'll go with the same rotation. It was a game that they barely won. They were double-digit favorites in Charlotte, so it wasn't exactly a win that necessarily makes you want to just run it back and do the same thing. But the big takeaway there with Westbrook out was that they did maintain their 8-man rotation. The names just changed, and so you saw a lot more playing time for Christian Brown and for Michael Porter Jr. Jalen Suggs is questionable for Orlando. He's been mostly out of the lineup lately. generally means that Anthony Black gets the start if he is out. Black started, played 31.5 minutes without Suggs last game. Nobody questionable for Golden State. Draymond Green is probable, just makes that front court even messier. Nobody questionable for Phoenix. For Portland, Duop Reith and Ryan Rupert are both questionable. They don't matter. Jabari Walker and Robert Williams questionable. They don't matter either. Nobody in the rotation for Portland is questionable here. And that's it. So that's today's injury report. Comment on the video, tweet at me, DM me, whatever, if you find it helpful. I do want to know. Obviously, I don't want to waste my time if nobody cares about this shit, but it's something that I just assume would be helpful, and I don't mind running through it. Doesn't take me very long. So let me know if you found it helpful. Appreciate that. Thumbs up on the video, all that stuff. Subscribe to the channel. I will be back later at 4:45 with the NBA DraftKings video. And again, check out Run the Sims. We're really excited about that. And the Showdown tool is free to use for the Super Bowl. Thanks for checking out the video.